everybody.
Hi, friends. Well, from beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah.
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
Podcast exploring religion, politics, and current events from a number of atheists. It's two, but it's a different two this time. Just trying to make it in these United States. I'm Dan Beecher.
And filling in for Frank, it's your favorite Kate Middleton.
You're Kate Middleton?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not his favorite, probably. It's Kate Birch.
Hi, Kate.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us again. Frank is unwell.
Poor Frank.
And so you have come in, you've pinch hit in just with no time at all. So we really appreciate you.
I got my
in.
painting done this morning, so
you're good to go?
I'm good. I'm let's do this thing.
All right. Excellent. Well, we've got some stories to tell. What do you want to launch us off? Do you want to start us off with some stories?
I've got a couple of abortion stories because we live in such a fun time and that we just get to talk about abortion all the time.
Who doesn't want to talk about abortion all the time?
But this is actually a fairly optimistic story.
Oh, lovely.
So there was a poll that was done recently, and I'm wary of polls these days because anybody can do a poll. And so
and polls are very easy to skew.
Exactly.
If you have an agenda.
Yes. So, I kind of always take a poll with a grain of sand. What's that saying? Salt. Yeah. Salt. Take it however you want.
Some grains. You just grab a grain.
Any sort of grain you want. Anyway, judge it how you want. So this one was a survey that was conducted at the end of September, like a 3-day survey. And it polled about 1,000 people across the U.S. So I like to, kind of give you, how many people were in this poll. So not a ton, but
that's actually a pretty decent sample size.
It was a pretty good size. So, it was polling how people felt about abortion, like as it relates to their faith. And so what we found was that the majority of U.S. Christians actually think that they can support abortion and not have it contradict their own faith. So that to me feels so positive. It's really exciting. So these were the two choices that people were given. They were asked, can people of faith support abortion rights without contradicting their faith? Or can people of faith must protect the rights of fetuses?
Wow,
so,
those are, first of all, let's just talk a little bit about how you bias a poll. I'm not saying that this poll, I'm saying those are not the opposite of each other.
Yeah, they feel it's peculiar.
Those are two different things. They're and literally they've worded it to bias this poll in the direction of the fetus one.
It feels like it, but that's why it's kind of surprising that people actually, didn't answer overwhelmingly for that number 2 part of the question. Yeah. So that actually feels really positive to me. So among self-described Christians, 57% said they agreed with that first one, that they could hold their faith and allow for abortion.
Nice.
Well, only 43% of them chose the have to protect fetuses thing.
That's just God, I can't get over that wording. You either can justify this and maintain your faith, or fetuses,
right?
They're avoiding the word murder, but only barely.
And also, a lot of the time, they're not even fetuses yet.
Yeah.
They're zygotes. And
what about blastocysts? How do you feel about those?
Yeah. So anyway, yes, it is very skewed. Still being skewed in a way that, makes me have some hope for, the way the majority of people see things in the country. So it's no surprise that anybody who called themselves evangelical was more in support of the fetuses. But and among people with a non-Christian faith, so, I assume, all the other religions, 74% of those people thought that their faith they could still support their faith and believe in abortion. So that's that's huge. That feels super positive to me.
Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, it just what it goes to show is that like where the American populace is in their minds is very different than where the right wing political structure is.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, we all know that this was an issue that, people made up to be divisive.
Yes.
So it's not like when most people think about it, they should just. I'm surprised that so many people feel like they need to make choices for other people.
I'm not.
You're not?
No.
I mean, here's something that's always confused me. This has nothing to do with the story, but I just think it's interesting, so I wanted to talk about it. But people who are religious are usually very much of the mindset of like free will, right? And like that isn't that the whole point of being alive? Is that
no. They believe in free will, but you have to do what you're told. You have to choose it for yourself, but you have to do what you're told.
Well, they get to do that.
They're authoritarians. They just pretend they believe in free will. They don't.
Anyway, it feels baffling to me.
All right.
It feels baffling. But wait, I want to tell you one more thing about the story, if that's all right.
Sure.
So there was also a second part to the questioning, and it was about now that we've overturned Roe v. Wade, do we think that Congress should pass a law to guarantee access to abortion, or should we pass a law that makes it illegal across the board, or should they
nationwide?
Yes,
Okay.
nationwide. Or should they not do anything about it?
Okay.
And so 46% of the people said that they should pass a law to guarantee abortion access.
Wow.
That's pretty big.
Yeah.
Only 17% of people said they should pass a law that makes abortion illegal.
Wow.
Only 17%. That's very small.
Versus 47. That's a big gap.
And then 37% of people said, it's like, don't pass any law about it. Just each state should determine it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right. Well.
Anyway.
That is interesting.
I think it's interesting.
These people just need to get their heads right. Because they're not. Their heads are not right.
Yeah.
They're wrong. Well, I'm going to take us to Fort Worth, Texas now, where there has been a showdown.
Yeah? What kind of showdown?
Not unlike the OK Corral, except it's very, very different.
Okay.
And is totally unlike that. This actually happened, rather than a corral, this happened at a monastery that has been owned and operated by a group of nuns for a while. And I think
corral nuns. So it's kind of like a corral.
It is like a corral. Yeah. It's every now and then you got to get on your horse and herd the nuns to where you need them to be for winter. Anyway, it's a monastery. It sounds lovely on 72 acres of Arlington Woods in Texas.
Maybe I'll become a nun.
Don't do it.
Okay.
But here's the thing about it. There was a big hubbub, and I think Frank and I talked about this like months and months ago. I don't remember.
Well, I haven't heard about it, so tell me about it.
So what happened was the Mother Superior had a bit of a problem. What she was accused of by the Fort Worth bishop, Michael Olson, was that she had sex with a priest.
Oh, that's naughty.
Which they're not allowed to do. Neither of them are allowed to do that.
Then that's a double negative, and it cancels itself out. So that's fine.
It turns out that the nun in question, who was Mother Teresa Agnes Gerlach,
they get named after Mother Teresa, or her name just happened to be Teresa?
Her name is Mother, and then they assign you a saint name.
Oh, okay.
And that saint
so she got a terrible saint to be named after.
She's not named after Mother Teresa. She's named after the same saint that Mother Teresa was named after.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Get it straight, man. Anyway, or at least that's my understanding of how this worked. Anyway, she did. It turns out she claims she did not have sex with this priest. She only had text sex. She was
sexted.
She was sexting with him. And she claims that she was like high on some not on some prescription drugs.
Okay.
When it all happens.
What's his excuse?
Man. Anyway, all of this is just, that's kind of salacious and it's kind of funny.
But it's kind of cute too.
It is
I
kind of
love the
cute.
thought of the nuns sexting. I think that's just so charming.
Right?
I love it.
Like an up habit pick.
Yeah.
Like
Like that doesn't hurt anything.
Right?
Yeah.
Just show a little nun, some nun bits.
Like just think of all the religious art where like Mary is like pinching her nipple. Like don't you feel like there's so much like religious boob art?
Where she's like squirting milk to
Yeah,
somebody and stuff.
absolutely. Like come on, you can get a little freaky
Anyway,
if you're a nun.
Here's the thing though. Father Buzzkill, Bishop Olson, and this is going to be a theme of this entire show. Just cannot handle it that this happened, and then the nuns wouldn't submit to him.
Submit sexually?
No. Just like he was going to take over. Like, here's what it looks like. It really, he claims this is not true. It really looks like he was just making a play for the diocese to take over this.
Oh, because it was beautiful and on
Yeah.
72 acres.
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably like set her up.
Well, yeah. Or just heard about this, she came and confessed or something, and then he's like, ha, this is my chance. Anyway, there has been a standoff between the diocese
Like a Bundy standoff?
and these nuns.
Guns.
No.
Oh.
Just standing off. Off standing.
Just what does that look like?
Yeah, I don't know. He says, hey, this is mine. You have to do the stuff. And then they say no. Well, it's come to a head. And the diocese has proclaimed that these nuns are no longer nuns. He claims he denunned them.
So now they can just keep the place, start like a cool, like women's only, like resort
Yeah.
on this 72 acres. And I like this.
Well, yeah. So what the nuns did was say, no,
Yeah.
we don't accept you can't denun us.
Yeah, we're nuns.
We're still nuns, and they just said no.
They're like, God says so.
They said that their dismissal was a quote moot point.
I love it.
They said the vows that we have professed to God cannot be dismissed or taken away.
Yeah.
So
Why am I rooting for the nuns to still keep their relationship with God? But like, I'm
I
like,
know,
go
right?
nuns.
it's like you want to be against them because of the dumb religion and all the nonsense of that,
Yeah.
but then you want to be for them because of the anti-patriarchy stand that
Yeah.
they're taking.
I actually feel like this would make a really fun movie, and I want it to be like super sexy nuns. Like, I want it to like get, I kind of want it to be,
You've
don't-
taken it in
No?
the, yeah,
Okay, fine.
I feel like you're changing the tenor of the story.
well, I just want them to like own their sexuality and their relationship with God.
Yeah. I mean, look, the number of stories that we have done about priests, nuns, everybody having
Yeah.
sex and sort of on the sly. These people have sex.
Yeah.
Like,
They're human beings.
If you were, frankly, I'm guessing that like within any group of nuns / priests, there's one or two that have really held to their vows.
Mm-hmm.
How disturbing would it be to be that one and then just find out that everyone around you's been sneaking off and
Yeah.
doing the dirty?
Yeah. Or at least sending messages.
Yeah. At minimum, sending some.
You know they're all looking at porn.
But come on, you don't sext with someone that you don't have intentions of like.
I'm sure people do.
Well, I'm saying they're flirting with not just each other. They're flirting with the idea of actually taking it a step further.
Yeah, but like, were they at the same place?
No, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So anyway, standoff continues.
Go nuns.
I hope they don't get guns, but I hope but
Guns and nuns.
there were lawsuits about all of this, and the judge just balked just said,
what is it?
this has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
You guys solve it internally.
Yeah, what's a judge going to do?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's funny. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to do a follow-up for my next story of, I think, a story that you did a couple weeks ago.
Yes, we did.
So I'm going to just do a little bit of backstory to remind you what this story was. So it took place in California when a woman who went to a Catholic hospital, she was having a miscarriage. Mm-hmm. She was pregnant with twins. And I think at like 15 weeks, her water broke. She went in, was obviously miscarrying. And because the fetuses still had a heartbeat, they couldn't do anything, or they refused to do anything.
Right, because this is a Catholic hospital.
Yes, the doctors were like, yes, this woman needs care. She could really like get an infection. This could be super, harmful to her health. She might not be able to get pregnant again in the future.
She could die.
And the babies were clearly they were not going to make it. There was no way to save them.
Right.
So it's like the babies have a death sentence. Let's save the woman.
Yeah.
Obviously. It's like, all doctors are supposed to do this. And the doctors wanted to, but then the hospital, the Catholic priest or whoever runs the hospital overruled them.
Well, yeah, there was a policy. You can't do abortion care.
Yeah.
Even when it's to save the life of the mother.
Well, and I don't know. I'm sure you guys reported this, but the hospital offered her a bucket and towels.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah,
That's
to send her to another facility.
Well, so they were like, well, you can call an ambulance. You could call a helicopter.
Yeah, they were like, the best thing to do is to be airlifted to another hospital that's
will only cost you
away.
like the rest of your life to pay off.
Yeah.
And so they didn't agree to do that. They ended up driving 20 minutes to a not as great hospital, but they were still able to offer her the care that she needed, and she luckily didn't die. But she was like, still not okay. I would like to sue this hospital.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm just as a point of...
Yeah.
It wasn't she that sued the hospital.
Right. You're right. It was the attorney general that sued on behalf of her.
Of California.
Yes.
Because that runs afoul of California's law that says if there's a life at stake and you have an ER...
It's the emergency services law.
You have to do it.
Yeah. And so it says you can't patient dump. You have to provide service to the public if you offer any sort of services. You can't just choose, because then they could obviously, this is a case where they were like choosing based off of their own beliefs that to do whatever they wanted. So luckily the case was finally resolved. I think they just settled out of court. But what they did settle for was in exchange for the lawsuit being dropped, the hospital was like, we don't have to say that we did anything wrong. That was one of the parts of their settlement. But they did say that from now on, doctors in this hospital will perform any abortion that they feel is necessary.
For the safety of the
patient, to protect the patient. And that they won't ever transfer a pregnant patient to another hospital unless the doctors have done literally everything that they could to help them and still were not able to do that. So it seems positive, but I do want to say this, and maybe you guys said this on your last show, but I would put a call out to all of your listeners to check the hospitals around where they live. Double check. You might not know that your hospital is owned by the Catholic Church, because apparently they're taking over a bunch of small hospitals. Yeah. And what you don't want to have happen is you're already in an emergency that isn't going to be great to have a Catholic hospital taking care of you, and you don't want to be put under the same, conditions that this woman was put under. Right. So maybe, while you're well, check out the hospitals around you. Yeah. Do a little due diligence.
If you're a woman, especially if you're a woman, if you're trans.
Yeah, any of these things. Like
if you're a straight white guy like me, a cis straight white guy.
Yeah, you're probably going to be
probably
okay.
just fine.
Yeah. But I don't know.
But
Just be better safe than sorry.
But also, like, don't give them your money.
Yeah.
Don't give them like, I hate to think of healthcare as business.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be.
But some people are kind of a little stuck because of depending on where they live, that might be the nearest thing to them.
100%. And if you are, hopefully this can be a model, because what this shows is, Catholic hospitals can totally do those things.
Yeah.
They can totally do those services. They're just being being shits about it.
Yeah.
So try to make sure that they're not shits.
Exactly.
Put the pressure on.
Mm-hmm.
All right. My last thing was in Texas. I'm sticking to Texas.
Okay.
I mean, look, all the best horrible news for this show comes out of
That's often true.
Comes out of the American South, and Texas is a great spot for that. Anywho, in Texas, you know how marriage is a thing that has changed over many centuries and has been different many times, and now is a thing where most people who get married, or a lot of people who get married, they just want their friends to marry them, and so somebody just goes and gets an online certificate, and it doesn't matter. Well, one of the organizations that will credential you to perform marriages is the Center for Inquiry, which is a secular group.
Nice.
Decidedly so. But the state of Texas allows the following people to conduct a marriage ceremony.
Okay.
A Christian minister, a Jewish rabbi, or a person who is an officer of a religious organization.
What? You can only get married if it's religious?
Or a current, former, or retired federal judge or state judge.
Jesus.
So you can either have a judge or they have to be affiliated with religion. Now, the religion thing, probably you could get away with the Church of Universal Life online, or even maybe the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. Because both of those groups will credential you, but CFI wants to just be able to credential people, so they're suing.
Oh my gosh, as they should.
As they should. So, and they're suing on behalf of a guy named Eric McCutcheon, who is a resident of Texas and has been a secular celebrant since 2014 and wants to keep doing it.
Yeah. I guess he should become a retired judge.
Right? Go get
Hurry and do that.
Go get judgified. It's so dumb.
It's so dumb. And just, they're doing it like in such a mean-hearted way.
Well,
don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, it may not be. It's just that atheists are bad. You know what I mean?
Well, you're not even saying atheist. You're just saying not religious.
I know. And that's what's weird, is that like the truth of their truth is that in their minds, if it's not Christian, it doesn't count. But like they know that they kind of have this gentleman's agreement with all the other like fake religions that aren't real and blah, blah, blah. Like, okay,
well, at least you're a religion.
But yeah. Hindus are cuckoo bananas, but at least it's a religion.
Yeah.
So
it must be.
But like, that's not more okay for you.
Yeah.
Than an atheist doing the same damn thing.
Yeah, except I feel like they like to discriminate. It's just there's something enjoyable. You're just saying
it's just that nice fun, that warm feeling that you get.
You're trying to take away somebody's good time.
Yeah,
it's very rude.
Okay, there you go. Anyway, good luck to CFI with the lawsuit.
Yeah.
They have successfully sued other states to
sure
get this
seems
to
like they'll win on that. I can't imagine.
I mean,
how you wouldn't.
I don't know if you've followed. I think it's the Fifth Circuit.
Oh, I do know the Fifth Circuit,
but there's no guarantee that this goes well for them in court in Texas.
Yeah, and
if it gets up to the Supremes.
Who knows then as well?
Well, actually, it would probably go to the Texas Supreme. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know where, who, if this is a state. I guess it's a state thing. So
it'll be interesting to keep an eye on it.
The Fifth Circuit has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Anyway. Hooey.
Well, I have an even more hooey sort of story. This story is like truly disturbing and not funny in any sense.
Oh, good. I was hoping for that.
No, it's like truly horrifying.
Okay.
And I'm sure people have heard about this, but the Taliban has recently banned women from hearing each other's voices. And
yikes.
yeah, I mean, like, I feel like when I read that, it was like a blow. You know, I can't imagine being a woman who lived in Afghanistan, possibly when, you know, women were completely free, you know,
or
in the 70s.
Or a lot freer, yeah.
Yeah. And then to have seen their lives shrink and shrink and shrink and become more and more covered up and more controlled, to the point where, are you even a human anymore at this point? Like, everything has been taken away. Literally everything has been taken away from them. They're banned from, you know, going to the university or working outside of the home. And so then this past thing, the country's minister for the promotion of virtue and the prevention of vice, which is just the grossest title in the world, put out this recording. I guess apparently now they've banned living beings from being shown on television.
Oh.
So you can't even see anything alive on television.
Wow.
So his message was delivered during a voice recording.
I'm going to get hung up for a second. I'm trying to imagine what TV is like if there aren't like humans.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there could just be like a chair and then a voiceover. There could be a plant.
Welcome to Sofa TV.
Yeah. Don't
sit in it. No. It's just the sofa.
Could you use shadow puppets? I don't know. I feel like they could
You're
get
such
creative.
a subversive.
Anyway, but this is truly horrible. So they have already said that they needed to cover their faces to avoid tempting, you know, men.
Yeah.
And then now they're saying, and they can't already speak in front of unfamiliar men. And now they're saying they can't even speak around other women. So I think what they were saying was like, even if you were praying loud enough that when another woman passes by, she could hear what you're saying, you're breaking this law. And they've also been ordered not to speak so loudly inside their own homes.
Wow.
That if somebody was outside passing by and they could hear their voice, that would be against the law.
That's insane.
Yeah, and they're saying that, you know, if you break this rule, you can be arrested and sent to prison, and they're trying to bring back stoning women to death in public.
Yeah, this is one of those things where we need an underground railroad scenario to get all of the women out of Afghanistan.
I just don't even know how you could possibly do it.
You can't, but it needs to happen. I feel like the Taliban needs to be left in their country with
no women,
only men.
Yeah, I agree that they've
lost woman privileges.
Well, the really, really, really sad part of it is that women are actually killing themselves to escape from this. So, like,
of course it
might be that every woman does find a way out, and that way is death, because, like, they'd rather be dead than living in this, like, prison of just being completely alone.
Yeah,
you know, it's horrifying.
Yeah, I suppose the only good news is that at least in the United States, that's still 20 years away.
Oh, yeah. Or maybe 10.
Maybe 10.
Yeah. It depends.
Good.
Get out and vote, you guys.
That would not be good for you. You are not a quiet
I would
woman.
I would be stoned immediately. I would not last a week.
No.
Yeah.
I like you loud. I encourage your loudness.
Yes, I am very loud.
All right. Well, I'm gonna close us out in Cincinnati.
Okay. This isn't Texas. You were promising Texas.
I gave us plenty of Texas.
Okay.
So let's go to Ohio, where there has been a tragedy.
Uh-oh.
Only it's not.
Okay.
Only it's actually pretty good. I think.
A good tragedy. I'm ready.
A good tragedy. It's sad in a few ways, but mostly I like it.
Okay.
Which is to say, this is another story about an archbishop trying to control people, women.
Yes, this is a common story.
It's a theme.
Uh-huh.
But what he has ended up doing is actually releasing them from his control, which is to say, Archbishop Dennis Schnurr.
That's an amazing last name.
Yeah. He has broken ties. His diocese has broken ties with the Girl Scouts.
Oh, be free, girls.
Run and be free. Off you go. Go learn real things out in the real world. He is very upset because as he writes that the Girl Scouts, he does not like their stance on, quote, sexual and gender ideology, calling it an impoverished worldview regarding gender and sexuality.
I just can't stand for it.
It's impoverished. I mean, I like that the open, like
generous,
embracing worldview is the impoverished one, and the stick up the ass, try and force people to be who they aren't worldview. That's the non-impoverished.
Right.
Anyway, the Girl Scouts of Ohio. What is it? It's of Northern Ohio or something. Western Ohio. They serve more than 28,000 girls.
Wow,
and probably some boys too. They allow boys in.
Yeah, it's nice.
And some kids of
non-binary
gender identities. They and almost 11,000 adult volunteers are part of the organization. I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah, what did they even need the church for?
I mean,
like meeting places.
They probably had a good place to meet, and you know, the other thing is that like it's a good way for girls to find the Girl Scouts because you know they're maybe on the bulletin board. There's a thing about a Girl Scout activity or whatever. But
put that in the school.
I like the organization Girl Scouts of America very much, and I highly encourage all of you to put your girls in it if they want to, or your boys or your children. But yeah, I mean, they're teaching outdoor experiences and STEM stuff and life skills and entrepreneurship. Yeah. I don't know. Selling cookies is not entrepreneurship, you guys.
I don't know. They talk me into their cookies all the time.
You don't need
You're right. I don't need much talking into.
We don't need to be talked into cookies.
Although here's the thing, Dan,
and they're not running a business. They're just the marketing wing.
Yeah, but they're really good at it.
Yeah, they are.
Because I would maybe buy 2 boxes of it unless all of our friends' kids are selling them, and then I end up with like 15 boxes.
Right. But then you're not actually buying anyway. Anyway, I don't think that that's entrepreneurship. I think that it is a sneaky way to get you to buy a lot of stuff.
I'm not mad about it.
I'm not mad either. I support the organization,
it's
so
great.
It's totally fine.
It's great.
But yeah, I think that I love that these churches, the LDS Church severed ties with the Boy Scouts. Fine. I think this is bad for the churches.
Yeah, it is.
Good for these organizations.
I am very on board with all of it. Just leave those churches in the dust.
Yeah, exactly. Onward and upward, forward march into the future.
Yes.
And we can get rid of all of this silly nonsense. Well, all right then. If you guys would like to write into us and talk about any of the things that you've heard about, good news about Girl Scouts or bad news about Taliban, please feel free to write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com, or you can send us a voicemail. The number to call is 424-666-8442, which is 666-TGIA, and more shows coming up. All right. Well, we had some folks write into us. I wasn't able to check voicemails and we're not going to thank any of our patrons this week.
I feel like I always throw it off when I'm here. We just don't thank anyone. So I'm going to say thank you to all of you.
Okay. Thanks to everybody, except Frank, who left us in the lurch. Anyway, we did have some folks write into us. This one is unsigned, but it says, "Hey, Frank and Dan, I'm a listener from Paraguay. and probably the only one from here. Maybe not. We have people all over this place. And I love the podcast. I really appreciate what you're doing. I just wanted to quickly comment on the topic of women's priesthood acceptance in Latin America, because I believe I can provide some insight into the matter, having lived my entire life. Though it's not like I really care since I'm an atheist, but I'll do my best on speculating on the reason why this is the case. So just to give you some background, if you don't remember, there was a study that, or a poll that came out that showed a surprising number of South Americans were okay with the idea of women getting the priesthood, which I thought was pretty cool.
Is it just a more matriarchal society?
Well, let's hear what this
Okay, that's just my guess.
You see, says our listener, most Catholics here, or at least a large number of them, are what you would call cultural Christians. So they don't do things like going to church and aren't bound to being traditional people. So seeing a percentage of the people's acceptance on women's priesthood doesn't really surprise me at all, because, as I said, a large number of Catholics here, at least in my country, are not really all that serious about their religion. They just want some form of an afterlife to cling on to because they're afraid of death. Anyway, so I think that's an interesting point. Like, yeah, if you don't actually believe, if it's a cultural thing more than it is a religious thing. Yeah, you're like,
what the heck? I don't care. It doesn't influence me. Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
If I get my Jesus cracker from a man or from a woman,
I don't care.
Probably not going to make much of a difference. It'd probably be nicer from a woman. I don't know why. It just seems like
you feel like they'd wash their hands better.
You do.
Kind of.
You kind of feel like that.
Sorry, guys. Yeah. Wash your hands.
Everybody wash your hands. This is from Shauna, who says, "Hi, Frank and Dan. I just thought about candidates going to church during campaigns. I agree with you that religion shouldn't be a main factor in political campaigns. However, I do believe that candidates who are so inclined should speak at churches, synagogues, etc., because they represent religious people too. Just a thought." Yeah, they do represent religious people. And boy, don't those religious people know it.
Yeah. I don't know why you'd need to. I mean, it's the whole separation thing. Like, you can say you represent somebody and not, like, you don't have to speak at the place, you know? Like, I don't know.
It's the message that you're sending, right? Like, anybody, all the religious people can come to a barn,
right,
and feel fine and feel
accepted,
or a stadium or whatever. But not all constituents can go into a church and feel
comfortable,
feel like they're represented.
Yeah.
So I feel like the better message is if they don't go to churches, but yes, if I'm a candidate, I want as many religious people to vote for me as possible. So
yeah,
I don't have a huge problem with it. I don't know. Anyway, finally, Graham wrote into us to say, "Hi, Frank and Dan. Thought you might be interested to know that at least some portion of the vaccine hesitancy disrupting polio eradication efforts in Pakistan and Afghanistan is not the fault of religious leaders. We can actually put a large amount of blame on longtime friend of the show, George W. Bush, and his pals at the CIA."
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had multiple people write into us about this. And it's not just George W. Bush. It's actually like...
So what happened?
Well, I'll let Graham continue. During the War on Terror, the CIA hid spies among the legitimate healthcare aid workers running vaccination programs in the region, ensuring that all such workers would be viewed with suspicion and made targets of violence for years to come.
Oh, that's a bad idea, guys.
It's so bad, and it is unconscionable.
Yeah, that's really, really a shame.
As a matter of fact, I think one of the things that I read is that part of how Obama found Osama bin Laden was through a spy campaign like this.
Oh, they should put the spies in the churches.
Well, but it's like you can't, like, there are certain things that should be sacrosanct.
Yeah.
You can't sully people doing medical good.
Yeah. No.
That should be sacred. That should be
protected.
Completely protected. there should be an impenetrable wall that keeps politics and international intrigue and all that stuff out
Yeah.
of medicine.
Yeah. I mean, I think you see sort of similar things happening in Gaza.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's a mess.
It's a mess. So yes, okay, fine. It's not all the religion's fault.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that the religious leaders aren't a big problem.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. All right. Well, since we're not going to thank our patrons this time, other than you're already having
I'm just thanking you guys.
We will thank our top donor, our Lord and Savior, Davis!
Yay! Woohoo!
More show coming up. All right. Now listen, there are some very dumb, very awful humans out there on the campaign trail campaigning for one side and decidedly not for the other side. Tucker Carlson being one of the chief douchebags.
Oh my gosh, he has said so much horrible stuff in the past week and a half.
Yeah.
Like he's such cringeworthy.
What one is given to understand from him recently is that being on Fox News held him back.
Wow.
He actually,
it's kind of amazing.
Considering the shit he said on Fox News, it's shocking, but it seems like he maybe just wasn't, he was holding back.
It's hard to believe.
On Fox. Anyway, he's a nutball.
Yes.
But he is making sure that everyone knows his religious bona fides while he's out there. And apparently, in an interview for an upcoming documentary.
Ugh.
Called, I guess, currently titled Christianities?
Oh.
Question mark. He was talking to an interviewer and recalled an incident that was remarkable.
Okay.
You know this because you're the one that alerted me to it.
I know, but tell the story.
I'll let him tell the story. I'll just read it.
Okay.
He said he was asleep in his bed, and he was, quote, totally confused. I woke up and I couldn't breathe, and I thought I was going to suffocate. I walked around outside, and then I walked in, and my wife and dogs had not woken up, and they're very light sleepers. And then I had these terrible pains on my rib cage and on my shoulder, and I was just in my boxer shorts, and I went and flipped on the light in the bathroom, and I had 4 claw marks on either side underneath my arms and on my left shoulder, and they're bleeding.
Ooh.
And so Tucker was attacked by demons.
I mean, that is definitely the conclusion I would have come to had I been in that scenario. Because, for one, never heard of sleep paralysis and that affects so many people.
Yeah.
Have never had a bad dream before.
Yeah.
So to be scared.
Yeah.
Also, I don't understand. Okay, so he says he walked around outside. He could have walked into a bush. My immediate place that I would go wouldn't be scratched by demons. I would have been what did I run into? You know?
Yeah.
And then also the weird thing about they're light sleepers. What is that proving? He was quiet when he got up? I don't understand.
Maybe the demon kept them asleep.
Oh, I really, what part of, what does that play in this story?
I love, there's an upcoming episode of Data Over Dogma. We're going to be talking about demons.
Yeah. I'm excited to listen to that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We already recorded it and it was a fascinating discussion, but I just think it's so funny because there are demons in the Bible, but it's not an obvious or easy category to sort of wrap your head around. because it keeps changing.
They're just scary things, or what?
Yeah, it's like I mean, it's what it is a first century BCE goat herders idea of what must be happening when they encounter a person who's mentally ill.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Totally. Like they're not in control of themselves.
And not only mentally ill, like Jesus cast a demon out of a guy who was mute, and suddenly he could talk.
Right. So illnesses, and, anything they couldn't explain.
Anything, or that they felt icky or weirded out about.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, must be demons.
Demons.
Why do you got demons in you,
man?
man?
You sneezed. Hurry and say something so a demon doesn't get in you.
Yes. And that was another funny thing that we talk about on Data Over Dogma is that, like, yes, there are these ideas of they penetrate you through the holes in your body.
Yeah.
Like the Egyptians had this idea of bad spirits can enter you through your ears and your nose. And
yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like they're on the right track. Like with like illnesses. Like, yes, you can breathe in illnesses that are going to make you really sick.
Yeah, bad things enter your body.
Or your mouth. Like if you have something that's unclean or, so it makes sense. Like, and those things are super scary and can kill you.
Well, and we are genetically, like evolutionarily programmed to be worried about contagion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for good reason. But when that starts playing out into like otherworldly creatures that can contaminate your body and come in, and then now it's just a free-for-all where it's like, does it enter your body? Maybe. Does it like scratch you under your arms and make you feel scared when you wake up? Yeah, and do you like... this is the thing that worries me about stories like this. I mean, you and I lived through the 80s when there was the satanic panic, and people's lives were thoroughly ruined.
Yeah.
By people like Tucker Carlson who scare people into believing things that are untrue and that you can just make up.
Yeah. And that are unprovable.
Exactly.
You can't falsify this shit. They just make the claim. Tucker runs away with a whole, with fistfuls of money.
Yeah.
And then
spreads this fear.
And some poor, mom in Shittsville, Arkansas is terrified and is rebuking the neighbors in the name of Jesus.
Yeah.
And is like seeing Halloween decorations and anointing their lawn and somebody's kid gets sick, and if you buy into this enough, you start believing that people can affect the weather. You start believing in supernatural stuff like this that you then pin on people that you've decided are evil. Yep.
And suddenly we're gonna have witch trials today.
We're going to have that, or a kid is going to be a kid who probably is just acting out because they already have been spiritually abused. Mm-hmm. Now they're going to be subjected to much, much worse abuse.
Yeah.
In the name of trying to exorcise whatever demon is inside of them.
Oh my gosh,
They're like, instead of being told, I'm sorry that you feel bad, let's help you with your feelings.
Yeah.
They're going to be told, you've got a demon in you and I'm going to get it out.
Yeah, imagine like trans kids. They're going to start saying there's demons in them. And
they already do. They say that all the time.
Yeah,
it's dangerous.
It's so dangerous.
And that's why we have to keep on fighting.
Yeah, it's scary though. Stuff like this, it spreads very easily. It's it's contagion. And
it's like something that can possess your body and take over your brain, and then you're not in control anymore.
Well, yeah, I see these stories kind of getting ready to proliferate again. Don't like it.
Yeah, it's these are the dark times. This is not an awesome time. So hopefully, so what's the cure? I don't know. Is it just teach your kids? Here's the thing.
Logic.
Let's teach our kids critical thinking.
Yeah.
Let's teach them critical thinking skills in ways that are so good that they can then pass those skills along to their friends.
This is true. The worry for me is that when you have a segment of the population, like when we become so polarized, and so already fear-mongered, that then, and people are so susceptible to story.
Yeah.
I don't know that, like, we can't protect that half of the population. Yes, our half might be protected from it, but we're the people that are going to call witches. So I don't know.
Yeah, but we're growing. That's what we need to do, is make it so that it's not our half, it's our,
Yes, that's a good point.
3/4, and then the rest of them feel too silly to actually say it too much out loud. Yeah. Frankly, we just need to let's run a campaign called Make Tucker Carlson Feel Stupid Again.
Let's do that.
Because he should feel like an idiot for saying that.
He should feel like an idiot.
Like, it's not like he believes anything. He's just using a story because it sounds like it would play. So let's make him feel like if he uses a story like that, he'll sound like a fool. I
wish that he sounded like a fool to those people when he just automatically. Like, I wish it wasn't contingent on us having to teach people that he sounds like a fool by saying it.
Yeah. Well, make Tucker a fool again.
Please.
It's the newest. I'm going to get a hat.
Okay. It'll be cute.
Yeah. MTA.
It'll have claw marks on it. Demon claw marks.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. He probably, I mean, look, for all we know, he did actually have sleep paralysis and, got scratched by the dogs while he was,
Sure, that's
something.
A thing.
And now
sleep paralysis is a scary thing that happens to tons of people.
Yeah.
And people can sometimes see things that look, because they're half asleep.
And people frequently report like kind of hallucinating.
Yeah. Demons and stuff. Yeah.
Like humanoid images and stuff. Yeah. All right. Well, fuck you, Tucker Carlson. And thank you all for tuning in. If you'd like to support the show, you can go to thankgodimatheist.com/donate and figure out which way you would like to do it. If you do it over on Patreon, you can get the Frank and Dan Diary and all kinds of other stuff.
Do that. That's fun.
Our show is edited by Roger Gowdy, music by the Red Rock Hot Club and Gordon Johnston. Thanks to all of you for tuning in.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you again next week.
Bye-bye.
Thank God I'm Atheist is a production of TGIA Media, LLC, copyright 2024, all rights reserved.